Well, this week marked 3 years since the federal government first promised to introduce a federal integrity commission. Yesterday, 9 newspapers reported an analysis of more than 19,000 grants across 11 programs had found coalition seats received $1.9 billion in 3 years, while Labor electorates got less than $530 million. A similar analysis undertaken by the Australia Institute last month found $71.3.9 billion worth of grant funding had gone to government-held electorates since the coalition came to power in 2013. Joining me live now is the Independent Member for Indi, Helen Haines. Helen, I appreciate your time. For years, this sort of spending has been shrugged off almost as pork barrelling, a handy way for governments to get on side with their electorates or marginal electorates. What are you proposing to prevent this being a sort of standard fare of modern politics?
Well, let's be absolutely clear. This is public money which is intended to be spent on the public good. And what we've seen with this analysis is some real questions to be asked from a government that claims that it's a sound economic manager about how they're actually spending that money. So what we haven't got in the federal sphere is a solid accountability mechanism. It's why I've been fighting from the day I came to Parliament for a robust Federal Integrity Commission. Now, the Prime Minister promised us that 3 years ago. It was an election promise. We've only got a handful of days to sit next year before the next election, and it's clear this is a broken election promise, and we're going to see more of this misspending of public funds through pork barrelling to purchase seats, not for the public good.
It was fascinating to see the politics play out after the Tasmanian Liberal MP Bridget Archer crossed the floor to vote in favour of that motion calling for a debate over the proposed establishment of a National Anti-Corruption Commission. You're obviously very close with her and we're working with her throughout that. How's she doing now, and have you had any other coalition figures signal to you that they are on board with what you're trying to do?
Look, what we saw with the member for Bass crossing the floor in that second last week of Parliament actually was someone who has sound principles and votes with her conscience around what is possibly the most important issue facing the Australian Parliament right now, and that is proper use of public funds. So Bridget Archer crossed the floor. She, like me, is determined to work collaboratively with anyone across the Parliament to get this done. She, like me, wants to see this fixed. It really is a disgrace that we have a federal government going into another election without a robust Federal Integrity Commission to give the public confidence that their money, because it is their money, will be spent appropriately.
The Prime Minister, Scott Morrison, has been warning in recent days that a vote for an independent at the upcoming election is a vote for Labor. He is facing a swathe of new independent candidates, many of them female, many with a strong climate change agenda. How worried do you think the coalition should be?
Well, I think the fact that the Prime Minister is talking so much about independence tells me that he sees independence as a real threat. I think the Prime Minister should show more respect to the voters of Australia. The voters of Australia who have an independent representing them in the federal parliament know that they have a truly independent voice that goes into the parliament every day with their constituents in mind, that they're not beholden to a party boss, that they're not beholden to a political agenda. I think what we're seeing from the people in many parts of Australia where independents are running is a frustration. They are sick to death of poor behaviour in parliament. They're sick to death of things like pork barrelling. They're tired that the government promises real action on climate change and then is beholden to a national party who doesn't wish to see that. I think the people of Australia are looking for something better in politics. I'm a very proud independent. I vote independently every single day, and when I'm not in the parliament, I'm working for the people of Indi every single day. I'm not surprised at all that the coalition are quite worried about independence.
Well, it'll be up to the voters before too long. Helen Haines, appreciate you joining us. Thanks so much.
Thanks so much, Ashley. Bye-bye now.